Hello everyone, my name is Hannah. Welcome to a new video. Happy Bookmas Day 3. Today's video is going to be a book unhaul. So it's been a little while, I think, since I've done my last book unhaul, but I have quite the stack here. I did not count how many I have. I'll count at the end of the video and let you guys know how many books I am unhauling today. But I've had some that I've had like in a stack that I just knew I was going to unhaul. And then I went through my shelves and pulled some books off the shelves just now that I think I'm ready to let go of. So I'll show a little clip of me going through my shelves and picking out the books that I'm ready to pass on.
About to leave, already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking, we'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, down with my own doubts. Be free with me. Be free. Be free with me. Be free. Not looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, down with my own doubts. Be free with me. Be free. Be free with me. Be free. Be free with me. Yeah, let's go. Be free with me. Oh, come on and let's go. Let's be free with me. Yeah, be free. Be free. Be free with me.
So yeah, I went through my shelves and I pulled off a lot of the books that I am ready to let go of. There were a few that I pulled off that I was like, should I get rid of these? Some of them were DNFs that I'm like, maybe I'll want to give them a second chance. So I put them back up there. And some of them I'm like, maybe I'm not ready to unhaul right now, but maybe like in the future I want to unhaul them, but I wasn't ready to let them go quite yet. But I do have, like I said, quite the stack of books here today. So we're going to go through the ones that I had already had in a separate pile before I started this video. I'm going to start with two books that I'm actually not sure if I want to let these ones go yet. So I want you to help me and tell me if I should keep these or if it's not worth keeping them and I should just let them go. we're gonna see. But the first one is Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Raybourn. Deanna Raybourn is the author of the Veronica Speedwell series, so I read that series for the first time this year and I absolutely loved it. And so when this was a book of the month pick, I decided to pick it up just because I really like Deanna Raybourn's writing, but I'm not sure if I care enough about the premise of this book. So I haven't picked it up, and I don't have like a strong desire to, but like, what if I end up liking it because it's Deanna Raybourn? I don't know. But it's like basically this book about these older women who used to be assassins, I think, and then like slowly they get started like picked off one by one, and so they have to like fight for their lives basically. So I don't know, that just doesn't sound like my kind of book. So I don't know. I keep going back and forth between if I want to get rid of this one and just like say I'm not going to get to it, or if I want to give it a shot. Let me know if you think I should keep it or get rid of it. And then the other one that I'm very much on the fence about is Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. So I read Normal People, and when I read it at the time, I did not like it. But I kind of want to give it a second shot because I do really like Sally Rooney's writing. So I have a copy of Normal People that I'm going to try to reread and see if I end up liking it. But I got this, I don't know, I just wanted to give her a second shot because I did really like her writing, but now I'm like really nervous that I'm not gonna end up liking this one, especially after reading like the synopsis of it. I'm a wee bit nervous, but again, I'm on the fence about it. So let me know if you think I should keep this, if you think I'll like it, or if I should just get rid of it and not even try it. All right, now into the books that I am like for sure letting go of. So first up is going to be The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. I don't know how you say that. This one I tried, and I just don't think it's my kind of book. I know a lot of people love this. It's very, very well loved, but I don't know. I just did not vibe with this at all. I don't know. It just wasn't for me. Don't hate me. I don't want to have this anymore. The next book I have is A Brush with Love by Maisie Eddings. This is an advanced reader copy. This was given to me by Marissa from In the Genre Garden, I think is her channel name. But I just don't have any interest in this book, and I am just gonna let it go. I think I'm just gonna end up putting this one in like a little free library since it's an advanced reader copy. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about this one other than like I didn't have any interest in it to begin with, so I am just gonna let it go. The next book is All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace. So I read Belladonna this year and I really loved it, but this is it's a YA like mermaid pirate fantasy kind of book, and I just wasn't vibing with it. I DNF'd it pretty early on. I think I was only like 30 or 40 pages in, and I just don't think that I'm in the mood for YA fantasy much anymore. So I'm moving on from it. So I'm just gonna let this one go just because I really have no interest in this anymore. These next two I'm only getting rid of because I have other copies of them. So that is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid and Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. If you don't know, Anxious People is one of my favorite books of all time, and I absolutely love it, but I have a paperback copy, which I prefer paperbacks. So I think I'm going to actually give these to my mom because I think she would really like both of these, especially Anxious People. But yeah, the only reason I'm letting these like book of the month copies go is because I have both of them now in paperback, and so I don't need duplicate copies. Then I have a few more book of the month books. So the first one is When We Were Bright and Beautiful by Jillian Medoff. This was my August book of the month pick, and I DNF'd this one about 150 pages in. I was really not vibing with it. I think it's a like rich people drama court case kind of book, but yeah, I did not like this one and I DNF'd it. I did not enjoy it at all, so I'm getting rid of that one. The next one is Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. This one, I feel like I could eventually read and enjoy it, but it's a thriller and I'm not like super into thrillers at the moment. Like I haven't been all year, and honestly, like once you read a thriller, they lose that like rereadability because you know the plot twist and everything. Unless it's like a really, really good thriller. But I just feel like I would get this from the library if I ever wanted to pick it up, and then I could return it. So I don't need to hold on to this. And then I have Thistlefoot by Jenna Rose Nethercott, which I got for my October book of the month. This was another DNF. I think I was about halfway through this one, and I just didn't care to come back to it. It wasn't bad, but it just wasn't for me. So I think if you are interested in this one, still give it a shot, because like it was semi-interesting, but like once I put the book down, I never like was drawn to pick it back up. While I was reading it, it was fine, but then when I put it down for, you know, the night or whatever, I would not want to come back to it. So I just decided to DNF it, because I have plenty of books that I'm much more excited to read. And then I have a book that my mom gave me. So this is Season of Wonder by Rayanne Thane. I think she got this from like a garage sale, and it's like a Christmas romance, and I'm just like, I have other books that I'm more interested in reading, and she just said like, you know, you can sell it on your Pango Books app or whatever if you don't want to read it, but she just gave it to me, so I'm just going to get rid of it because, like I said, I have other books I'm more interested to read. All right, now we're getting into the books that I just pulled off of my shelf. So I have Layla by Colleen Hoover. I read this one. I did enjoy it, but it's like with most of these thriller ones, I'm not going to ever want to reread these, just because like now that I know the twist, it's not like exciting to read these anymore. So I know the twist of this one. I did like it. It's a good book, but I won't ever reread it, and so I'm letting it go. Same goes for Infinite by Brian Freeman. I enjoyed this one. It's like a multi-dimension, like alternate reality kind of thriller, and I thought it was a fun time when I read it, but I will never reread this one. So it's a good one shot. Enjoyed it at the time, but I can let it go. Now, I did hold on to The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager when I was getting rid of thrillers in my last book haul, because I said that I thought I would reread this one, but realistically, I probably wouldn't. And if I ever did want to reread it, I could just get it from the library. But this is one I think my mom will really enjoy, so I'm going to add it to the little stack that I'm going to give to her. I also have Ace of Spades by Farida Abike Iameti. This was another really, really good book. Enjoyed it when I read it, but I won't ever reread it. So I'm going to pass it on because I think somebody else will really enjoy it. And then I have Once There Were Wolves by Charlotte McConaghy. I really love Charlotte McConaghy's writing. I will pick up anything that she puts out. Migrations by her is my favorite of the two that I've read from her. This one was really good. It centers around like wolves and reintroducing them to the wilderness. If I'm going to reread a Charlotte McConaghy, it's going to be Migrations. I did really enjoy this one. It was a 4-star book for me, but I'm ready to let this go. And again, like I said, if I was ever going to reread one, it would be Migrations. Now we have a couple fantasy books / magical realism. So the first one I have here is The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. This cover is so beautiful. It pains me to let this cover go. Oh, it's so pretty. But I DNF'd this 2 years ago and never came back to it. And I told myself if I didn't read it in this autumn that I would get rid of it, because this book is like set in autumn when it's like the best time to read it. But yeah, I didn't like this at the time. I thought it was really boring, and I thought maybe I would give it another shot eventually, so I held on to it, but I've had it for 2 years and have never given it a second chance, so I'm ready to let it go now. Next up, I have Other Birds by Sarah Addison Allen. This was a book of the month pick in September. I like Sarah Addison Allen's writing. I like how she writes magical realism, but this one just felt kind of flat for me. I really like the book Garden Spells by her, so if you're going to try a Sarah Addison Allen book, I would highly recommend that one, and like the companion spin-off book, First Frost. Those are really good. This one was just like, it was fine, so I don't need to hold on to this one. Next, I am getting rid of Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. This was, again, one of those situations where I did really like it when I read it. I think I gave this book 4 stars, but I have since like forgotten pretty much everything that's happened in here, and I have no desire to reread it or pick up the sequel, so I'm just gonna let this one go. It's just not meant for me. And then next up, I have the entire Caraval trilogy by Stephanie Garber. I picked this up because I wanted to read the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, and one of the characters in that series has a role in this series, and I did have a fun time with this, but I'll never pick these up again. The best one is definitely the first one, Caraval. Well, Caraval and Legendary, they're like neck and neck. I like the main point of view in this one better than this one, but I liked the story in this one better. But yeah, they're just like a fun, YA circusy magical game kind of fantasy. The finale, though, was a bit of a letdown, and honestly, I just don't feel like I need to keep these anymore. I won't ever reread them. I don't have any sort of like strong feelings towards them, so they're gonna go. Now I have a little stack here of some romances. So first up was a DNF. Again, it is Misconduct by Penelope Douglas. This is the only Penelope Douglas book that I've read and I haven't enjoyed. I actually, like I said, DNF'd this one. I think I was just over 100 pages into it, and I was like not vibing with the characters or the story, but there was a scene in here that just really put me off of this book, and I just didn't want to continue it, and I didn't like it. So I'm not going to keep it just because I want to have all of Penelope Douglas's books. I have all of their other books, but this one I'm going to let go because I did not like it. Continuing on with the romance books I DNF'd theme, I have 2 Lauren Asher books. I have Throttled, which is the first book in the Dirty Air series, and The Fine Print, which is the first book in the Dreamland Billionaires series. And I just think Lauren Asher's writing is not for me. I read, I think, about 40 pages of each of these, and I hated every single page. Like, I hate the characters, I hate how they're written, I hated the dialogue. I did not enjoy myself at all. So I'm glad that I DNF'd them. Honestly, I was having a terrible time with these, and I'm not keeping them. I'm not giving them a second chance. They need to go. Another romance I DNF'd and I'm getting rid of is Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I know this one is very well loved. Look, I got about halfway through it, but I thought this was so boring. I hated that the couple got together like right away. This couple is supposed to be they're supposed to have 3 books, like a trilogy of books, and they get together in the first 200 pages of the first book. So what am I working for here? I just didn't enjoy this one. Honestly, I thought the 2 main characters were kind of annoying, and I just couldn't continue it. So I don't need to hold on to this. If I ever did want to give this a second chance, I could get the ebook for it. I already have the audiobook for it, but I don't need to hold on to the physical copy of it. So I'm going to be getting rid of that one. I also have You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogel. This is another one that I got, I think maybe like 100 pages or 75 pages into this one, and I was so annoyed during this book. Like, I was getting like fuming, raging mad. Like, it was so annoying. Both of the characters were so petty and immature that I was like, you two don't belong together. It's supposed to be a second chance romance, but like, don't break up. You just break up. This is another one where I feel like people are going to say like, oh, it gets better, but like, I literally don't care. I hated both of them and I just wanted it to be over. So I'm getting rid of this. It was very frustrating to read and I don't want it anymore. This is one that I feel like is going to hurt some people's feelings. It's Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. I read, Get a Life, Chloe Brown, and I think I gave that one 2 stars. I just don't think I like Talia Hibbert's writing. This one was another DNF. I did not get very far into this, maybe like 50 pages. And yeah, I just don't vibe with this writing. So I'm going to pass it on to somebody who will hopefully love it more than I do. All right, now I have a few romance books that I did finish and complete. I just don't feel the need to hang on to them. They were just like fine or maybe even a little disappointing. So the first one is Hooked by Emily McIntyre, I think is how you say it. So it's a Never After novel. For some reason, I thought that this was going to be fantasy, and it is very much not. It straight up says in the beginning, in the author's note, it is not fantasy or a literal retelling. It's set in a contemporary setting. So I went in with false expectations. That is on me. That is not on the author or anything like that, because she straight up warns you, like, this is not a literal retelling. This is not a fantasy. It's set in a contemporary world. So that's not what I wanted when I read this. And honestly, I just thought that this was like perfectly average. So I don't need to keep this one. It was a 3-star book for me. So it's just like, it was fine, but I'll never pick it up again. And I don't know that I'll continue on with the series. They're all standalones, so I could, but yeah, I can just let this one go. Then I have Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. This one was a bit disappointing for me. I had hyped it up in my head. People on the internet hyped it up for me and said it was going to be this really amazing, like, emotional romance, and it was going to make me cry, and I was like ready for that. And I thought that this was so boring, and like the the love story was very insta-love. Like, it was so rushed in my opinion, and I don't know. It was a bit of a letdown. So I'm gonna let this one go. Hopefully somebody else will find it and will enjoy it more than I did. Another really disappointing letdown of a romance book was The American Roommate Experiment by Elena Armas. So this is the sequel companion to The Spanish Love Deception, which I absolutely loved. I gave that book 5 stars. It was amazing. And so I was really, really hyped for this book, and it was a miss for me. I did not like this. I think I gave it 2 stars. Yeah, it was just so disappointing. So I don't want to look at it anymore because every time I do, I just get like upset. So I'm getting rid of it. And then the next book I have here is Fool Me Once by Ashley Winstead. This is a second chance romance that I read. I think I gave it like 3 stars. It's just fine. So when I'm looking at my romance shelf, I want to look at that shelf and like feel happy and be like, oh, look how cute all those romances were. And this one just kind of stuck out as like a very meh book. I really liked the love interest. I think his name was Ben, but the main character, I didn't really like her at all, and we're in her head the entire time. And honestly, I think that Ben deserved better. He deserved better. I think that he should have gone and found somebody better. So I'm getting rid of this one because I didn't get, the warm fuzzy feelings that I want to get from a romance. All right, 4 books left. So the first book I have here is The Curious Reader, a literary miscellany of novels and novelists. So this was gifted to me by this company called Mental Floss, and it's basically just a book of like random facts about authors and like very popular works of fiction. So I think that it's like a very cool book, but I'm going to give this to Brandon, my husband, because he teaches English, and I feel like this is like an interesting book for kids to flip through like in his classroom. So I'm just gonna give it to him because I'm not gonna flip through it. I'm not gonna read it. So I'm just gonna give it to him. Then I have the poetry collection Shine Your Icy Crown by Amanda Lovelace. This is, what is this poetry collection called? You Are Your Own Fairy Tale series. So the first one is Break Your Glass Slippers. I've pretty much read like every poetry collection that Amanda Lovelace has come out with. I like most of her poems. This one was just like, this collection was just kind of but I will still continue to read whatever like poetry she comes out with. I don't need to keep this. Next up, I have Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. This was a DNF. I found this main character to be very like annoying. I didn't care to be in her head. And I thought the story was very like boring. Like, I don't even remember how many pages I read of this. I think at least 100, and I feel like nothing happened. So I DNF'd it, and I will not be picking it back up. So I don't need to keep it on my shelf just to take up space. And then the last book that I have here is Assembly by Natasha Brown. This book was one that I picked up in London because when I was at the Waterstones there, the bookseller, like the guy at the checkout counter, recommended it, and I just like knee-jerk reaction, like I was like, yeah, I'll buy that. So I read it. It's not my taste, but I think my friend Casey wanted to read this and she had asked to borrow it. So I'm just going to give it to her, and if she doesn't want it, she can get rid of it. At first I thought I was going to just keep it because like it's a little memory from London, but I have 3 other books that I got in London that I would prefer to like keep as my like souvenirs from there. So this one I don't need to keep, and I'm letting it go. So there you have it. That is 36 books that I am unhauling. I'm making plenty of room on my shelves for new books. I'm happy to let all of these go. Let me know in the comments if you think I should keep Conversations with Friends or Killers of a Certain Age, if you think they're worth it, if you think I should give them a shot or not. If you made it to the end of this video, leave the little recycle symbol emoji down below, the little green, the 3 triangle or the 3 arrows. I mean, not triangles. It makes a triangle. Because I'm going to be selling these all on Pango Books, so I can like recycle them and reuse because they're used books. I don't know, whatever. That's just the emoji I'm going with for today. So leave that emoji down below if you've made it to the end of this video. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed this to let me know, and don't forget to subscribe as well so that you can see all of my bookish content for Bookmas and just like in general. And thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all in my next video for Bookmas Day 4. Bye!